Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Tech Chit Chat Show. My name is Ken. You can find me on Northern Viking Everyday and Northern Viking Explorer on YouTube. I'm here with my great I totally botched that. Great co-host Steven, 8-Bit Warrior on Twitter, and Steven Loney on YouTube. Good day, Steven.
Good morning, Ken. How are you this morning?
I am doing great. I have my coffee, and I'm really excited to drink it. And I was just teasing you about something. Or orange juice or really bad looking coffee. And
I changed up this morning.
Yeah, I was asking if we should change the title from coffee time to orange juice time, but I think we're good. Orange juice is kind of a breakfast food, so
breakfast food.
Well, I mean, like it goes with breakfast.
Yeah. So
or
it works, right?
Lunch or dinner.
Yeah.
Or when you're sick.
So you're not going to judge me too harshly this morning for having orange juice?
No. Is it? Oh, man, we got off track really quick. But yeah. So welcome to the Tech Chit Chat Show. Today we are going to be chatting about the Steam Deck and Steam Deck alternatives. So we've got kind of an interesting show for you today. We're not saying they're necessarily better than the Steam Deck. We're just going to talk about some Steam Deck alternatives because there are definitely a few out there. Anyway, did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I had a good weekend. Yeah, it was good. It's kind of hard to remember. Yeah, it was a busy one. Had events going on and things, and it was good. It was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And I believe it was a long weekend in the United States of America. So for all of you watching from down there, I hope you had a great weekend. This is probably your first day back to work after a extended break. I had a pretty good weekend too. I did some yard work. I don't know. I changed the spark plugs on the car.
Exciting.
Yeah. Except everything plastic broke, it felt like. So I had to go to the store and get some little grommets and things that are all the plastic little snaps and things that break when you take stuff apart. And
right.
Yeah. I don't know. Plastic is not good. It seems to snap. So
but when it's a straw, you like plastic, right?
Okay, I'm not saying that. I do. I mean, it is nice to drink out of a plastic straw, but it's not necessarily good for the environment. So I'm thinking a paper coated straw that is better for the environment, or I'll exchange my plastic cup to a paper cup and vice versa with the straw. So you get a plastic straw at least. Anyway, we could go off on so many tangents here.
A bit of a warning this morning. There might be a mystery person coming in and out of this room here. I have some construction going on, and there's electrician coming in and out of the room here. So if somebody randomly appears, they have nothing to do with the show. We'll just pretend they don't exist.
They're not there to strangle you.
No.
Well, and I have some. Apparently, I'm selling something on Facebook Marketplace right now too. So someone might be showing up at my door, but the stuff is outside, so hopefully I don't have to go. It should be okay. Trust them to leave the money.
We keep doing normal life stuff while we're live streaming.
Yeah. And plus, of course, it's recycle and garbage day, as it is always on every Tuesday here in Kelowna, British Columbia. So we have lots of distractions. Wednesday is the neighbor Moses Lawn Day. There's a lot going on. So the joys of live streaming. You don't always get quiet times. All right. Shall we dive into the Stream Deck alternatives there, Steven?
Yes. Let's do it.
So I know we previously talked about the Stream Deck. And now there's a backup on. People are struggling to get them, is what's kind of happening. And I did have. Let me pull this up here. My brain's going crazy because I just closed my Chrome tabs and I'm trying to bring them all back, and I realized I didn't bring one of them back. So we have this article. It's by Will Greenwood at PC mag.com, and he did an article on 6 of the best alternatives to buying the Stream Deck. And
Steam Deck, not Stream Deck.
oh man, we talked about Stream Deck last week.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'm catching myself too.
Yeah, Steam Deck. Stream Deck is pretty cool. We could do a show on that as well. But the Steam Deck. And so we're going to go through these and kind of show you some of the alternatives that are out there, because the Steam Deck itself is extremely difficult to get right now. And I wanted to bring this up here, but I closed it accidentally. So bear with me as I Google this. There we go. So this is actually what I wanted to show. So on the Steam Deck website, you can see that you can log in for reservations, and they are looking to ship in the Q3 of this year or October 22 or later. So there is a little bit of a delay on the Steam Deck.
Right. So that would be the fall,
yeah,
correct?
That would be the fall, yeah. So October.
Wow.
So did you have any initial thoughts on the Steam Deck there, Stephen? Like when you heard about the Steam Deck? I know we did our show on it, and
I mean, I don't have one, so I can't talk about it hands-on, but from what I've seen, so from the specs that I see on paper and from the general review from people out there who do have them, it seems like a solid device that is good. Like all around, it seems like they're hitting the right bullet points, like the specs are good. As we'll see from the list today, that it won't be the most powerful device on the CPU end, but when it comes to overall and the graphics capability, it's a really competent device that I think they put a lot of time into, and I just think it's really solid. So as far as I can tell, I haven't had my hands on them, but it looks pretty solid.
So if you're not really sure what it is, think of a Nintendo Switch that plays PC games. It would kind of be how I would explain it.
Yeah.
So some of the specs on it, just some of the basic specs here. So 16 gigs of RAM. They've got a Zen 2 processor in it.
The big jump here. So the big advantage that the Steam Deck has over the other ones here now is the RDNA 2 GPU in it.
Okay.
So that
RDNA.
AMD has been selective to who they're giving that to. I think still like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
Okay.
Has that tech in it. Now the Steam Deck has it in there, but as we'll see from the other competitions in this list for alternatives, that is not in the package. Yeah,
no, for sure. So it's a nice device. It comes in various different configurations, all the way from 64 gigabyte sizes to 512 gigabyte. And the screen on that is a 16 by 10, 1280 by 800. So in our comments here, is that Reverend Malay? Is that who it is? I love my beefy baby. Had it for a month now. So I'm assuming you're talking of the Steam Deck. That's good to hear. That seems to be the general impression, I think, for most people. I would be surprised if someone bought it and didn't like it and hated it. Like maybe there'd be something like you would like to see better, but I think most people are generally liking it. And there was a video you guys can look up and find on YouTube of Gabe Newell giving out hand delivering my okay. I would have not been able to know how to pronounce that. Well, welcome aboard there. Rev Maye. We appreciate you joining us. Actually, one thing I do want to mention, we're just going to step in here. This is the way we like to do this show is Stephen and I always have gotten together and talked about tech and drunk coffee. And we drink coffee. And so we do appreciate when people comment in here, and we can incorporate that into the show with us. And it just helps us continue on and maybe talk about some of the things that you're wanting to hear as well. So
you guys out there, you're the other people with us at the coffee house having coffee.
Yes.
And
or maybe you're just at the next table listening to us talk about Tech, you don't have to comment, but we do appreciate it.
It's a little creepy, but we'll accept that.
Well, you're the one that has the creepy electrician that's going to sneak in and out behind you. So.
That's true. Just like a real coffee house, people coming in and out.
So he has the 64 gig version.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay, and you are playing the No Man's Sky on Steam Deck. Wow, so that's impressive. That's pretty cool. That you got the full PC gaming experience on the Steam Deck, which is legit. Like,
yeah,
you may have to pare back some settings on high, like AAA games and stuff, but it can play them. So that's impressive. That's kind of the standard. Seems like the Steam Deck is now like the standard for mobile PC gaming.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no.
But I wanted to say though, you guys should go check out the video of Gabe Newell doing personal deliveries to people in the area near Valve for the Steam Deck, and it's just a wholesome, kind of awkward, wonderful, awkward, nerdy thing. And Gabe Newell seems genuinely interested for people to give feedback. He's like, yeah, here's your Steam Deck. By the way, email me. Let me know what you think. And I think he actually does reply and read like all his emails. So I encourage you guys to go check that out.
Cool. Yeah. So let's kind of go through this list after we've kind of covered the Steam Deck there, because I personally think it's an amazing device. I don't have one. It would still be my choice if I was buying one after all of these alternatives, except one of these alternatives I already own, but it's kind of the half alternative.
Yeah.
But if you're buying an all-out gaming PC kind of handheld device, it's the one that I would still choose. But there are some alternatives that are really quite interesting out there. So let's kind of dive into those.
Sure.
So the first one, let me pull this up here, is that they talk about is the Nintendo Switch. And that does not play PC games, of course. But if you're just looking for a handheld alternative, that is an alternative. I do have the Switch OLED here. I really enjoy it. But I've always been kind of a Nintendo fan, especially like the Zelda series and the Mario games. Those are my go-tos on there, and just for some casual gaming. Now there are and we're not going to spend a lot of time on the Switch, but again, there are alternatives. So the regular Nintendo Switch, the Switch OLED, which is what I have there, and the Switch Lite. And I even saw on Facebook Marketplace the other day a Switch Lite going for like, I think it was $110. So you can find them fairly inexpensively if that's something that you're looking to get into.
Right.
For handheld gaming.
No, I would argue that the Steam Deck is the alternative to the Switch, because the Switch came first. So
I would agree, but if we're talking, the show is called the alternatives to the Steam Deck.
Sorry, I'll try. Yeah, if I'm being difficult, let me know.
Okay, let's just shut this stream down right now if you're going to do that.
Sorry.
So, if any of you have a Switch, let us know in the comments, because I think a lot of you probably do. If you haven't heard of it, it's the Switch.
And your family's been happy with them. Like, I know your son has one too, and he's enjoyed his, right?
Yeah, we've got he has one and I have one, so we've got two of them in the house here.
Yeah,
and he uses his quite a bit. I know there's a couple of them in your house as well.
Yeah,
and they're well used, that's for sure.
Yeah, at least one of them is getting really well used right now. So
yeah
it is.
One thing I should mention, so because some of the other products that we're going to talk about have ports, or stands. I don't know what you'd call it. Docks is the word. So the Nintendo Switch and the Switch OLED both have docks. The Switch Lite does not. So the docks, you can connect it to your television and use it as kind of an old school gaming device that you would play on your TV and not just in your hand. So I shouldn't even call that old school, because it's not really old school. So so let's see what we do have a comment here. My main problem with the Switch is the control layout. My hands. Okay, so your hands, you don't like the control layout on many of the devices, so that's good to know. Yeah,
that's fair with the Switch. The Switch I have tried, and I know what you mean. It does feel a bit awkward and tight, and it's okay, but it definitely isn't great. And that's where the Steam Deck seems really
even when you take these
nice.
off and play as 2 players, they're super tiny.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're good for kids for sure.
Yeah. Like it's
They do
okay.
sell the larger like controllers, individual controllers and things
Right.
as well. So
Right.
yeah, I know what you're talking about with your hands freezing up, because I find if I do too much PC gaming with a keyboard, my it's just awkward. Maybe I need to play more with a keyboard, but definitely that can not feel great all the time. So, all right, shall we move on to our next
Yes.
device here? So the next one we want to talk about is I don't even know how to say that. Ayaneo Next Advance, and I believe there's a few different versions of the Ayaneo. So the Ayaneo looks a lot like a Steam Deck.
Yeah, it does.
Except it's a lot more expensive. And yeah, so this is a Windows-based device. It's running AMD processors. The one here, the Advance, is a Ryzen 7 5800U CPU, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 2 terabyte SSD in it. So a ton of storage. And the screen resolution is 1280 by 800.
So this does seem quite comparable to the Steam Deck, and this is where there's kind of this trade-off now. So this device actually has a beefier, straight-up CPU on it. If I'm correct, this one seems to be an 8-core, 16-thread CPU in there, which is quite impressive for an handheld. Like that's a lot of power. But so it seems to win on the total raw power on the CPU against the Steam Deck. However, this is the case where they do not have the newer RDNA 2 GPU architecture in there. They're still on the Vega 8 graphics, which is fine, which is decent.
Yeah.
But it's not the same performance as that new RDNA 2, which is it's just not there. So
yeah.
This device will be on the CPU front, on crunching numbers and all that. It's very fast, but on the graphical spitting out frames per second, it's not going to keep up with the Steam Deck. But you know what? For games that aren't massive AAA titles and stuff, it can still be a little competent thing, especially at the 720p resolution that it runs at. So it's more comparable to like what's currently in like laptops and stuff with Vega graphics, I would think.
Yeah, and they do have several different models here as well. So, and they range, like this one here, the Ayaneo 2021 is a little over $1,000. The Pro here is $1,200, and I believe when I was looking at the specs on this, so this is the Pro. So this one comes with Windows 10 Home installed, and I believe one of the ones we're looking at later comes with Windows 11 pre-installed. So
yeah, so that's something to consider, is that so this device is a lot more expensive, is quite a bit more expensive than the Steam Deck. So, but it does come with a Windows 10 key, so you can put Windows on the Steam Deck. However, it doesn't come with a Windows key, so you would need to buy a Windows key to get into the Windows platform if that's a concern to you. So this just comes with it. So that would be part of the cost, and I don't know how much it would cost right now to buy a Windows key to get into it, but that's just something to consider.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. And then I guess these have fairly large storage at 1 terabyte, but if you're buying a small version of the Steam Deck, Windows is going to eat up a fair bit of that.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about as well. So again, there's plenty of different products. We're not going to go through them all one by one, but there's definitely a few of them on here.
This to me looks like a strong contender, especially if you were somebody who was, because I don't know if that one had an easy. I'm assuming you can do HDMI and dock it. I don't recall. I don't know if I
don't remember if this one's docked. I know. So I did see this mini docking station here. I'm not sure. Oh, let's have a look. Oh yeah, but I don't know. Is that a stand or a dock?
What's the difference? So if you can easily hook up like keyboard and mouse, like Bluetooth and stuff through this thing, if you're somebody who wants to do some like gaming on the go, but also have kind of a little bit of a powerhouse of content creation kind of thing on the go too, it'd be a very competent, like I think it would work for video editing and things like that if you needed to. So that's what's kind of impressive is if you actually wanted more of that content creation side, that one might be a better alternative than the Steam Deck.
Yeah. No, that's
so those are just.
But you are paying a premium for that device for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, continuing on, why don't we move on to the next one? So this is the Ayaneo. This is not a Windows-based device. So this one is really interesting. So this one is an Android ARM-based device.
Right.
Significantly cheaper in price. So this is more closer to your Switch in pricing, plus or minus. This one, 4 gigs of RAM. They have a Pro version, 8 gigs of RAM, 64 gigabytes of onboard storage, or 128 with the Pro. This one does full 1080p resolution. Right. The interesting thing about this one is it has a port for a GameCube controller. Right. And you can put a dock on there that can hold an extra SATA hard drive as well.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. Now this one over on Indiegogo. So when they did funding for this, they raised over almost $5 million, 4.729 Canadian million dollars. Okay, wow. That totally came out wrong. $4,729,083 Canadian with 10,887 backers. So
yeah,
pretty interesting.
So that one has the 845 Snapdragon GPU in it. So this is going to be more like a high-end phone, probably GPU, which is fine. But it is going to be more of like kind of your for Android gaming, and I know a lot of people would use it for emulation and stuff if that's something that but I want to know, like, officially, what does it officially support? Like, what's the benefits outside of emulation and that kind of like gray area? I don't know what its strength would be. So for me, that's a concern. Is like, what's the ecosystem for this? Because I'm not into.
Well, I'm assuming the ecosystem is Android games.
Yeah.
But then, I guess it's. I mean, I prefer to have a Switch over that because I can just play Android games on my phone. I can even I can hook up my Xbox controller to my Android phone and play. So
and your phone screen's already pretty big anyway too, isn't it?
Yeah, my phone is quite a large screen on it. So I don't know.
I'd be a bit hard pressed to choose this option. There may be people out there that this is a good option for them, but it's a harder sell for me, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But
I still think the Steam Deck, from what I've seen, is the best option, and the Nintendo Switch out of the two. So,
but I mean that the price was good on the Odin though.
That's true. It's it is pretty interesting. I know we talked about what was that? We've talked about it in the past. What's that little game that plays the old Nintendo games?
The Analog Pocket.
Analog Pocket, yes.
Yeah.
And that's not on this list, but that's definitely I think I'd rather have an Analog Pocket than this.
Yeah. Your son should be doing his schooling right now. Why is he popping in there with another comment? He's like,
what's he saying? You can run Fruit Ninja at 60 frames per second.
Let's go.
Yeah, you can probably. That's awesome.
You do what you want, Thomas, with that one. I won't stop you.
I haven't seen the Electric Strangler yet behind you, so.
Yeah, no surprise electrician coming in from the back, and
no.
Yeah, he might show up later.
He might show up later.
Yeah, he turned off some of the fuses in the house, and he's like, "Hope that I didn't cut your internet." And I'm like, "I kind of need it today." So it's still working. So
You'd rather him get electrocuted than you be able to stream?
No, that's not what I meant. I'd
All
rather
right.
lose the stream.
All right. You can go pick up a generator. All right, next one. GPD Win 3. This one was really interesting to me. This is like, I feel like this is like BlackBerry stuff.
If I didn't know anything, if you didn't tell me anything about this,
Yeah.
I would think that Microsoft made this.
Just good. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a Microsoft Windows PC kind of deal going on, like, but it's not, is it?
No, it's so this one has it's got a keyboard that slides out. I don't know if you can see that there. So a BlackBerry style QWERTY keyboard, 5.5-inch display, so 1280 by 720. This one has an Intel i7 1195 G7 CPU in it, 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD, Intel Iris 12 integrated graphics.
Right.
And it has the RDNA 2 GPU in it. No, sorry. No, it does not. Less powerful than the RDNA 2 GPU.
Yeah. No, that would be Iris 12. I thought I had the Z graphics in there, but maybe there was a different model.
There could be. I'll jump over there in a second. So the interesting thing about this, so they're saying the best price is on AliExpress, and then you can get them third party on Amazon. Now, I'm nothing against AliExpress. I have ordered stuff off of there, but I prefer to buy something off of Amazon for sure. So on Amazon, actually, so they're on Amazon. They're running around just under $1,300 US for them on there, which is really interesting. They have NVMe drives in them as well, so a 1 terabyte NVMe, and it looks like these come with Windows 10 as well. So.
Right. So maybe I got the wrong process. 1195G7. So when I go to the Intel's website, it says that it's running the Intel. Yeah. Okay. Intel Iris. So it is the Z graphics.
Okay.
Intel Iris Z graphics eligible. It says. So it looks like it is the Z graphics, which is decent. So the Z graphics won't be as great as like what Intel currently has coming up with their newer GPU stuff, but it's a decent thing for playing games like Rocket League and stuff like that.
Yeah. Their website says Intel Gen 12 Iris Xe graphics.
There we go. Yeah. So that's decent. Like that's not going to be, that's probably not even better than the Vega 8 graphics on some, like on the other handheld we mentioned, but it's still respectable for certain types of games and stuff. Especially if you're running at 720p kind of resolution. And another game that could be really good is Fall Guys. Playing Fall Guys and stuff like that could be really decent experiences on it. But I don't think it'd be a great thing to try to play, like, again, one of those like AAA titles currently at high graphics or whatever. You might be able to play something like a low 720p, but for a lot of kind of games, I think this is adequate.
Yeah, I do like the keyboard. There's nothing worse than when you're like using a controller and you need to put in your email address and password and all that stuff with a controller, and you're going back and forth on the screen. So,
especially when the virtual keyboard is not even QWERTY. It's alphabetical.
Yes. It's funny how we can't find the letters.
Developers, please don't do that. Please use QWERTY keyboards.
Yeah.
Like this to me seems like the most like official Windows kind of device. As I said, I would have thought Microsoft made this. It seems like an all-around kind of like Windows experience in handheld form, especially with that keyboard in there. I also note though that does have an i7, but it is only a 4-core 8-thread i7. That's a mobile. It's not an 8-core i7. So it's still a fast, good CPU in it, but it has the same core and thread count as the Steam Deck, but just in the Intel side of things. So, but yeah, that one looks interesting to me. If I was wanting to do more just Windows focused kind of stuff with it, that looks cool to me. But the price is a bit too steep. But
Yeah, it is pretty cool though, for sure.
it's neat. It's a cool market because there's all these varying options for different needs of what you do or style, what you prefer. So it's a good option.
And then, honestly, when we were planning this show this week, we didn't know all these alternatives existed, and all of a sudden we saw a few articles of alternatives, and we're like, hey, what are these devices? Because we didn't even know any of these existed. So it's pretty cool that there are some alternatives, yet they may be a little bit more pricey. The one interesting thing about the pricing is the pricing high because the Steam Deck is out of stock
on these other devices.
Yeah,
because the competition's not there.
Kind of like the GPU market. When there's not very many GPUs, the prices were way higher, and now they're normalizing, right?
Possibly. I mean, it doesn't pricing if there is nothing in stock. That's a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's other things too. Steam, Valve may just have the ability to get better deals with.
Well, and they also know that if you're going to buy games on the Steam Deck, you're likely buying them through Steam.
Valve did, I think, might have been even Gabe Newell mentioned saying that it was painful to get the price point where it was for the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
So, which means that they may be making little to nothing on it.
Yeah.
And these competitors out there don't have a billion-dollar computer storefront to offset losses. So
yeah. It's like the PlayStation or the Xbox. They know if you buy it, you have to buy their games.
Yeah. So Steam still needs to break even on it, though. They need to, at the worst case, break even, or Valve, I should say, because people may not use their store. They don't have to.
No.
But it is a healthy assumption that they will. But it seems like they're not making a lot of money off the Steam Deck currently.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I think it'd be hard to compete with what Valve is doing between being able to offset because they have a very successful gaming store, and also having the connections with companies, and they can maybe get really good deals with manufacturers and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So our next one on our list, this one I thought was kind of one of my favorites on the list, was the OneX Player. Now they talk about the Mini over here, but there's several different models. So that's what it looks like there. But the Mini, this one, 7-inch screen, 1920 by 1200. So that's greater resolution than even 1080p. So higher resolution. While the other models, the 8.4 inch, go up to 2560 by 1600. So a nice large screen on there. Again, these are the i7 1195 G7s.
Right. So that's the same processor as the one we just mentioned there with the GPD Win 3.
Yeah. Oh, so but it has a version with the Ryzen 5800U as well. So again, I mentioned there's several different units. Let's jump over. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, this one comes with Windows 11 pre-installed. So that was a difference there as well. Now, if I'm assuming the ones that come with Windows 10 would be upgradable to Windows 11, but I don't know that for sure, because would everything in their hardware qualify? That's a good question. To officially upgrade?
Yeah, that would depend. I would assume so. But I'm not sure, because technically it's a good question. I would lean towards yes, except for the Android based Odin. That definitely.
Yeah, of course. No, but the Windows based devices. It's a good question. Those ones that come with Windows 10, if they could be upgraded, I'd have to take a closer look at the specs.
I think so. I think they would qualify, as far as I can tell, unless there is a lack of the TPM module in there somewhere in their hardware. Otherwise, I think they would meet the minimum requirement.
Yeah. So this one is what model is this? The OneX Player. So these are running around $1,400 for that model, or the VIP price of $1,210. another M.2 port or NVMe. So really fast storage on these, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. This one looks like, so again, this is similar to the GPD Win 3. But this seems like the more gamey, like handheld focused version of that.
I think this is the best looking one of the bunch.
It is. It's pretty cool. It looks like a Tron kind of inspired.
Yeah, and maybe it's just their website is really nice. But again, there's several different models here. So the OneX Mini 7-inch, OneX Player Mini, OneX Player, the OneX Player with the Ryzen. So there's the Intel and the Ryzen, and then with a couple with AMDs and one with Intel there. So
could you click on the one with the Ryzen 58U? Just
this one? Yes.
Sure. Let's see what the pricing on that is.
So 1420 for VIP or 1449.
Yeah.
So depending on, so if you want 2 gigs of storage, which is, or 2 terabytes of storage, I should say. A 2 terabyte NVMe drive is not cheap. Like if you think about that. So, and 16 gigs of RAM. So like it's expensive, but if you were to buy some of these components, they're expensive components as well, right?
Right.
So,
and that one is an 8-core, 16-thread.
Yeah.
CPU.
Yeah.
So it would be outperforming the Steam Deck.
How does that compare to my Ryzen 7 5800X? Do you know?
It's the same core and thread count.
Yeah.
But yours, so the advantage that yours has being a desktop PC unit is that you just get a much higher TDP, like maximum power output.
Okay.
So you have the option of like maxing out all your cores and running it like at high voltage.
Yeah.
This has to work within a voltage total watts TDP package.
Okay.
So on paper, it might look similar to yours, but once you go to the like mobile battery and all that, it has to taper down those you need to lower those expectations. Yeah. And it's still gonna be like a fast CPU, but it's gonna have to keep within a certain threshold of power usage. Yeah. So
this one also has the AMD Radeon RX Vega 8-core graphics in it.
Yeah, so. And that was similar to I can't remember what it was. We also discussed there.
Was it the first one? The
Ayaneo, I think it might have been.
Ayaneo.
Yeah, I think that one had a similar. And again, that's a very competent GPU. Mm-hmm. Again, not as powerful as the RDNA 2, but it's a competent package, and I think it performs better than the Intel Iris graphics as well. So that'd be my after the RDNA 2, that would be my kind of number 2, I think, for power, and then the Intel Iris Z, I think, would take a third, I think.
Yeah.
So I think you'd have, but anyway, I think that would be a decent gaming experience with quite a bit of CPU power. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're looking at I think this is one level down, but this one is the OneX Player with the 4800U in it. That's currently on sale for $999. So,
right,
that's not too far off of then the Steam Deck pricing,
right?
If you're getting the higher tiered one, so
and it comes with Windows 11 on it, so you have that included. If that's important to you.
Yeah. So, well, I should look if this one had Windows 11, but I'd assume it does.
Right.
Versus Windows 10. So that is the OneX Player, which is
looks pretty cool.
Definitely interesting for sure.
Yeah.
So the last one is kind of, I don't want to. I know in the article they kind of put it in there. I don't want to call it a joke, but it's just kind of an interesting concept. And it's the PlayStation Vita. Did you have one of these, or?
I had the PSP, PlayStation Portable, but I never had a PS Vita. No,
I did. I had the PSP as well.
The PS Vita did look interesting. I remember it being quite a beefy, strong unit for back in the day when it first came out. It was a very competent handheld.
Now, this was all digital, correct? Could you put the UMDs in it, or am I wrong?
I don't think it supported UMDs. I'm trying to remember if it supported something, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
it might be fully digital, but
I think so. So this is just more of an interesting thing because Sony did try to shut down the online store last year for this.
right.
So, but there's a lot of games that are available. I just wanted to, it was more interesting because of the pricing on these units. They're still quite hefty in price over on Amazon. $439. I mean, there's some used ones for cheaper, but it's kind of ahead of its time. I felt like
A bit. Like it kind of was, but like it was a really competent device. It did what it said it would do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it sold too amazingly well, but I think there's built up. It seems like there's a bit of a culture that's built up around the PS Vita, especially with like indie titles and a certain kind of culture that I didn't get into, but like through Twitter and stuff, I seem to have gotten some kind of inclination that there is something there going on. Like I know, I kind of know someone through Twitter who was one of the last people to release a game on the PS Vita.
Okay,
they were one of the last two. They just got it in, and they wanted it on there. Apparently, there's people still using them and that like them, and I feel like it's kind of a niche culture that's built up, and people kind of this community, and it's kind of like we're part of this Vita culture.
Yeah.
So there might be people out there that know about it. I'm not too.
I just thought it was one of the kind of coolest looking devices. It looked really modern for its time,
and it still looks relatively like modern enough.
Yeah. Like, you know, it makes me wonder: will PlayStation ever come out with another handheld? Because with all the games going digital, they could bring out a handheld.
I don't think they will.
No.
I mean,
they struggled to compete. I guess this was out. Was it out around the same time as the 3DS? Maybe.
It sounds about right.
Yeah, I think around that time. So, I think it was hard to compete with that for sure for them. So
I mean, they could try to come out with a handheld, but now they would be competing with even the Steam Deck. On top of Nintendo would now be the Steam Deck and these other alternatives,
and the phone more. When this came out, phone gaming wasn't nearly as big as it is now.
No,
it was probably Fruit Ninja.
Fruit Ninja at 15 frames per second.
Yeah. I don't know, my years could be off, but yeah. Angry Birds. I still like a good round of Angry Birds every once in a while.
Okay.
All right. So our question of the day. Where is it? Here it is. Do you want to read our question of the day?
Yeah. So the question of the day is: what other alternatives do you guys know about? Feel free to comment on like anything we're missing, because there could be quite a bit of things we don't know about.
And I'm guessing there's quite a few of them for sure.
Yeah, well, especially
analog, if we're gonna go through the Switch and the Vita, we can add the analog pocket on there.
But we're not gonna. We don't want comments about those that have like 10,000 Nintendo games loaded on them. Like those don't count.
No.
Because
I'd prefer to know about ones that are PC based, like PC game based. So I'm sure there's some out there for sure.
Yeah.
And what also happens when we hit 100 subscribers there, Steven?
Yeah. So when we reach 100 subscribers, we are looking to upgrade our stream feed here to 1080p with the future. I mean, to move up from this lowly 720p to 1080p. So if you guys are interested in what we're doing and would like to see this channel improve slightly in that regard, you can subscribe, and at 100 subscribers, we'll look to make that change. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, unless there's any comments from the audience, which I don't think there is at the moment. We've had a few earlier. I think we'll wind it down there, Stephen. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching today. You can follow us on many different platforms. We are here on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook. You can even watch us on Spotify or listen to us on pretty much any podcasting platform. So make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching today. And until next time, take care.